Hey guys, it's Greg from East Coast Dies, and I'm going to be talking to you about how Mark Matthews strings his stick. So he uses the Evo X or the Evo Lite X, they're both the exact same head. Um, and so there's been a lot of controversy about how Mark Matthews strings his pocket. Now he does do a couple things a little funny, they're a little hard to get hold of. And so I'm going to show you guys exactly how he strings the sidewall in his pocket, and the top string and shooting strings are pretty basic. So he uses the Evo Lite X um, with soft mesh, so this is just soft mesh, no coating or anything on this, and a regular 9 diamond top string. So once you've got your soft mesh and your 9 diamond top string in, you'll be ready to string the sidewall. So there are some more complicated elements in this sidewall, some things I haven't discussed before, some complicated knots, so I'm going to be going through it pretty slow with you guys just to show you exactly how it's done so you can replicate the pocket. Now I'm not guaranteeing 100% accuracy, all I had to go off was pictures, but I think I've got it just about precise to how it strings a stick. So we'll move into stringing the sidewall. Alright guys, so now we are ready to string the sidewall. So we've got our 9 diamond top string strung through the first hole sidewall, and we're going to put our sidewall in through the second hole. Now this first knot is just going to be a regular SI. So we're going to come in over the top of the first mesh hole and out the bottom, then in through the outside of the next sidewall hole. And so here's where you got to pay a little bit of attention. Let me get a little close. Is you're going to go from the underside of the head with the string right here, and see how there's a hole between the sidewall string and in the mesh. So you came in through the top of the mesh hole, and you're going to go up through the bottom of the mesh hole and up under the sidewall string. So when you're done, it should look just like that. So I'll do it again real quick just because that's going to be part of the basis of this entire stringing is stringing this SI, and it's something that is a little hard to see if you're not looking at it in person. So you're going to go in the top of the mesh hole, out the bottom, just like that, and in through the outside of the sidewall, and then up through the gap between the mesh hole and the sidewall. So right through that gap, just like that, and then pull it tight. So then this next one is where it's going to get a little bit harder, because what Mark Matthews does is actually uses, instead of these outside 10 diamond rows of mesh, he actually uses some of the inside 9 diamond rows to pull it just a little bit tighter. So you're going to go really slow. You're going to go in through the top of the next 10 diamond hole of mesh, and remember to leave that nice gap there in the sidewall, so leave it a little loose. Then in through the outside of the sidewall, but instead of coming up through the 10 diamond hole, you're going to come up through this 9 diamond hole right here. So you can see which one I'm talking about. That 9 diamond hole right there. You're going to come up through it and up under the sidewall. So it's going to pull that hole of mesh really, really tight. And then so we're going to do the same thing again, so you get to see it again. We're going to go down through the top of that next 10 diamond row, just like that, in through the outside of the sidewall, and then here's where it gets tricky, up through the bottom of this 9 diamond hole right here, and then up under that sidewall string, just like that. And we're going to pull that really tightly. And then we're going to do that same 9 diamond SI one more time. So down through the top of the next mesh hole, in the outside of that next sidewall hole, up through the 9 diamond hole and under the sidewall, and pull it really tight. So you want to make sure all these knots are really, really tight and locked down. So once you've done that, you can see it's pulled very tightly to create that channel. So now we're going to go into the second complicated item in Mark Matthews stringing, which is the stacked SI. So you're going to go in through the top of the next mesh hole and out the bottom, and then back up and around and in the top of the next mesh hole again. So just like a double up, but going over. So in through the top of the next 2 mesh holes, so you go into the top, down under, back around, into the top, down under. Then you're going to go in the outside of the sidewall hole, and then just like an SI, in that hole of mesh, you're going to come up through the bottom and under the sidewall, and then without doing anything else, you're going to come up through the bottom of that previous mesh hole and in through the sidewall, just like that. When you pull that tight, what's going to do is stack those two holes of mesh right on top of each other, essentially creating a very tight double up. So that's what's going to create the pocket. And then you're going to go into the top of the next mesh hole and out the bottom, come around into the top of the next mesh hole and out the bottom, and you're going to SI that second mesh hole. So you're going to go in through the outside of the sidewall and then up through the gap between the sidewall and the mesh, just like an SI. So you can see here we've got that stacked SI, then a 1, and then another SI, and then we're going to finish it with a final one. So into the top, into the outside, and up through the gap. And then you're just going to come in through the inside of that next hole and tie it off. And so for the bottom string, he just uses the next 10 diamond row and goes through every hole and weaves in and out to pull it really tightly. So next we'll talk about the shooting strings. Alright guys, so now that you've strung up the sidewall in your stick, you should have a pocket that's mid-low with a really tight channel and a really smooth release. Now for the shooting strings, Mark Matthews goes with the classic Canadian style, Canadian box style, 4 straights. So these straights happen on the 10 diamond rows, so it'll be just the first diamond, or the first row of diamonds under your 9 diamond top string, and you just want to skip a row each time, and make sure they go from tightest at the very top to loosest at the bottom. So it's a really nice gradual release, really smooth release, really low whip, but that tight channel should still give you some hold. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Hope you liked this tutorial. Make sure to subscribe to the Lacrosse Network for LXM Pro coverage as well as more daily lacrosse clips, and subscribe to my channel, East Coast Dice. Have a good day.